Now, this is Your Decision, live election coverage on All News Channel.
The night wears on, the numbers grow ever larger. Hello again, I'm Stan Turner. This is All News Channel's Election 96 coverage. Let's take a look at the all-important numbers board right now, starting with the electoral map for president. 284 Clinton, Dole 119. Clinton building what could be a win of avalanche proportions. We won't know that until we see how the rest of the country votes, and that'll be some time to come. There are many other races to watch. The popular vote for the president right now, Clinton hoping to break out of the 40 percentile. We don't know if he will. Georgia, just taking a look at some states, how the voting came out here with not quite half the vote in Georgia. You can see what a tight contest that is. Maryland went to Clinton, and you can see with half the votes there what the popular vote was. Alabama, Bob Dole staying out front there in this traditionally Republican state, along with its neighbor Mississippi. Connecticut votes for Clinton, District of Columbia for Clinton as well. Florida, this is one of the big wins for the Democrats. Bill Clinton carries a state that hasn't gone Democratic since Jimmy Carter did it many years ago. Indiana, Bob Dole, keeping that in the Republican column as it was 4 years ago. Kentucky goes to Bill Clinton with almost all the vote in there. Massachusetts, that's solid Democrat country, and that votes Clinton again. Mississippi, on the basis of this right now, we can see it's a toss-up. Missouri, though, goes Clinton. By the way, Mississippi would be surprising if it didn't go for Dole. Oklahoma goes for Dole. We know that for sure. And Virginia, we are told that has gone to Bob Dole as well. Lots of congressional races to keep track of, the House and the Senate. And that one is still the great question mark tonight. We still don't know exactly how that's coming out. Bob Costantini, our man on Capitol Hill, is there. Bob, can you shed any light whatsoever on how things are going in the House and the Senate?
Well, I wish I could shed some light, really, but you may be able to see behind me tonight, the lights are burning bright here on Capitol Hill, as inside Speaker Gingrich's office and in a lot of the other offices here on Capitol Hill, they are the staffers who are here. Speaker Gingrich and others are in their districts right now, but the staffers are here waiting to see if it will be Speaker Gingrich, if the Republicans maintain control of the House, or if it would be Speaker Dick Gephardt, that would be a Republican controlling of the House. Now, right now, the latest projections as the polls are starting to close across the country, sweeping across the country, right now on the House side, we understand there is no net gain or loss for either party here. And that would mean that if everything holds true, the Republicans would maintain control of the House. Now, over on the Senate side, I want to point out, the Republicans appear, if you were a betting person, you might say the Republicans could pick up a seat or two on the Senate side based on what returns are still yet to come in. And I think, Stan, one of the more important things to talk about here on the House side is a concerted effort to unseat many of the freshman Republicans who were elected to the tidal wave of Republicans 2 years ago. That concerted effort, especially by the unions to get a lot of those freshman Republicans out, has kind of failed right now, Stan.
Yes, 74 of those freshmen are targets, as you say, Bob, and it's interesting to see that at least on the basis of what we know now, that strategy of unhorsing those GOP freshmen is not working all that well. So we also understand, Bob, that Newt Gingrich has won his contest to keep his House seat in Georgia. Okay, yes. Bob, thank you very much. We will be checking with you perhaps again tonight as the numbers start to come through for us. It is taking a while, as it usually does. Phil Gramm of Texas was up for re-election, one of the 34 senators up for re-election this time. Gramm, you will recall, started out this year running for president, and then after things didn't break his way, he generated all of his time and treasure toward keeping his Senate seat. And tonight he spoke out as a victor, as one of those who has kept his Senate seat. And here is part of what Senator Phil Gramm of Texas had to say.
By your vote of confidence today, you made me proud. And I pledge to you that in the next 6 years in the United States Senate, I will do everything within my power to make you proud of the vote you cast today.
Phil Gramm of Texas, a winner, keeping Texas in the Republican column for the Grand Old Party. Again, it's difficult right now to tell you with any certainty what the numbers are in the Senate and the House races across the country. All of the House, all 435 seats are up, 34 in the Senate. Bob Costantini told us now the trend appears to be that the Republicans will retain control of both houses of Congress, so that, taken with Bill Clinton's re-election, means we continue with divided government, the White House with the Democrats and the Congress with the Republicans. Gentlemen, an interesting division of labor we will see again for another 4 years if these numbers hold up as they
It looks like they will.
Looks like they will.
Yeah, it looks like
and what about this notion, Bill earlier tonight talked about this idea, whether it's accidental or not, of a divided government. Do you think that, real quickly, do you think people are consciously voting?
I don't think they're consciously voting. I think it's just a falling together of different things, local stuff and additional national stuff. I don't think that there's a conscious decision. I'm going to vote for Bill Clinton. I'm going to vote for the Republican. No, it isn't bad at all.
Yeah,
remember 2 years ago,
yes,
there was a tremendous upheaval in the House.
Right.
Yes.
Incumbents, by and large, get reelected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bill and Hi, we're going to continue with this. We have other things to talk about, but we're going to take a break here for just a second. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Showtime brings you John Travolta in a wickedly funny blockbuster about fame, wealth, and glamour.
I guess in your line of work, there's times you have to get kind of rough, huh?
I got an idea for a movie.
Yesterday, you were a loan shark.
Yeah, but I was never that into it.
You think the movie business is any different?
John Travolta, Gene Hackman, Rene Russo, and Danny DeVito. Get Shorty, this month only on Showtime.
Watch Showtime on U.S. Satellite Broadcasting.
Mary.
Uh-huh.
Mary, Mary.
Dear, funny Mary.
Mary, Mary, Mary.
Oh, forget it.
Mary, 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 Mary.
Here I am.
Mary, Mary, Mary.
I know.
Mary, Mary.
Oh, Mary, you're just so Mary.
Mary.
What show is this for, anyway?
The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Watch Nick at Night on U.S. Satellite Broadcasting.
In one of the marquee contests of the evening among Democratic incumbents, Senator John Kerry staved off a fierce challenge to win re-election to the Senate from Massachusetts. Kerry defeats popular moderate Republican Governor William Weld to win a third term. In his concession speech tonight, Weld thanked his supporters and talked of the years to come.
I intend to be the best governor right here that I can be for the next 2 years. There is much work to do, much work before us. We need to...
The race was arguably the most closely watched of all the Senate contests. It pitted Kerry, popular Democrat, against Weld, a popular rising star in the GOP. Bill Fritz, what about this man, Bill Weld, and the presidential sweepstakes 4 years down the road? Is he one of those who may well take a shot?
I think he will. I think you have to count him in as a possible contender. He has won 2 overwhelming victories in a very heavily Democrat state, and quite frankly came very close to unseating Senator Kerry. The choice in Massachusetts, in the eyes of the voters, was between 2 very capable individuals. They chose to keep their very capable governor as governor, and in their eyes, their very capable senator as senator. Very similar situation in the state of Nebraska, where a very popular governor, Ben Nelson, was in a tough race against Republican Chuck Hagel, 2 very competent, capable individuals. If the trends hold in Nebraska, it will seem as though Nebraska voters have done the same as Massachusetts voters, keep their governor right where he is in Nebraska and send Chuck Hagel to the United States Senate, which, by the way, will be a pickup for the Republicans. It had been held by a Democrat, Senator Jim Exon. So, but I think voters are taking a real close look at some of these candidates and saying, you know, geez, we've got a pretty good choice here. We've got an opportunity to have a good governor and an opportunity to have someone we consider a very good senator.
Hi, Berman. This is a bittersweet election night for Clinton, obviously. Yes. Sweet in terms of winning re-election, but bitter in terms of he's facing 4 years now, again, against a Republican-controlled Senate and House, if the numbers hold up as we think they will. Assuming that, it could be a real rocky road for this man.
It could be a real rocky road, and it could be a real rocky road for the nation as well. Because, look, it's no fun to have a sitting president being accused of actions that are bordering on the criminal, which is in fact what Senator
Alfonso
D'Amato was alleging all along. I don't think that's a very good thing for the nation, and therefore I think we're in for rough times. Yes,
Republicans have to be careful about this too as they go into the next Congress. I think that they're going to have to take a more deliberative approach. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of the baggage on this being carried by the special prosecutor, Kenneth Starr. He's been given an awful lot of flexibility by the president's own attorney general to look into some areas that, quite frankly, as long as he's doing the job that the Republicans in the House and Senate want done, it may take the onus off them, and it may give them the opportunity to be perceived as staying above the fray. I don't know as they will want to do that. Certainly there'll be investigations, but I think you're going to see Republicans really assess this situation as they go into the next Congress.
Bill, if the House stays Republican, do we see a new Newt Gingrich? Do we see a kinder, softer, gentler, lower key?
I think what you will see is just as we saw after the '94 elections, a new Bill Clinton. I think that Bill Clinton learned from his mistakes in the first 2 years of his term. I think Republicans will be the first to admit they made some errors in judgment, and you may see a more deliberative approach to things. They're going to carry on their agenda. They're true believers, but I think the manner in which they do it may be a little more restrained and have a little more diplomacy to it than was evident these past 2 years.
Hi, what's your take on that?
I think what we have with the Republicans, particularly in the House, not so much in the Senate, of course, an ideologically committed army. And ideologically committed foot soldiers are not given to compromise. And although people like Newt Gingrich would like to, I doubt that they would have the troops behind them.
We say all this not knowing for sure if the House and the Senate will stay Republican. That's the way it's looking right now, but we will tell you the numbers as they come through to us so we can confirm it for you. Stay with us.
The power of nature. It can turn your summer day into a nightmare of destruction when a deadly tornado strikes. Now, National Geographic.
The Movie Channel presents. I want to know why. 27 men died on that pier. For what looks to be $91 million worth of dope that wasn't there.
This whole thing was a shakedown.
It was Kaiser Soze, Agent Guyan. I mean, the devil himself.
Kaiser Soze! When nothing is what it appears, watch out for The Usual Suspects, Kevin Spacey, Gabriel Byrne. This month, only on the Movie Channel.
You're watching U.S. Satellite Broadcasting. A lifetime exclusive.
All right, it's showtime. Everyone, you know the drill.
They're brilliant, ruthless, but only as good as their next deal.
You have 3 hours to make roughly $1.8 million.
Sonia Smith, David Cubitt, Bruce Gray.
Somebody's got to go down.
They agree on just one thing.
Is it always this good?
Winning is everything.
It only gets better.
Traders.
All News Channel is America's news channel. Stories gathered from local newsrooms across America and delivered by satellite to All News Channel. Reports from the world you live in every half hour on All News Channel. USSB Channel 963. For complete coverage of our nation's weather, watch All News Channel. At 14 and 44 minutes past every hour, All News Channel reports weather conditions across America, as well as temperatures and forecasts for your region. But our coverage doesn't stop there. When severe weather strikes, All News Channel is in the right place at the right time, bringing you complete coverage from devastation to cleanup. Your weather on All News Channel.
This is All News Channel.
Now, this is Your Decision, live election coverage on All News Channel.
Hello again, Stan Turner, and the numbers keep on coming. Let's check it out right now. The electoral vote, the tally shows Clinton 284, Dole 119, 270 to elect. Clinton has achieved that and then some. Looking at the other races now in the Senate, the tally right now, Democrats 42, Republicans 49. The trend indicates Republicans will maintain control of the Senate, as they appear to be doing in the House as well. Democrats 112, Republicans 117, 218 to control. The Republicans figure to hold on to the House as well. These are all unofficial, partial, fragmentary returns, need we tell you, but that's the way the trends are going right now. Now then, we want to talk with our analysts here about what we have seen unfold tonight. And again, we want to qualify the House and the Senate races. It appears, folks, that the Republicans will maintain control of both houses, and Clinton, it's assured now, has won the White House for another 4 years. We've got some history here, folks, right now. Hi.
Yes, we have a number of different historical moments here. This is the first time that a Democratic president has been reelected for a second term since 1936, when Franklin Roosevelt was elected for a second term. This is also the first time since 1930 that the Republicans were able to maintain control of both the House and the Senate, if they do maintain control of the House and the Senate, for 2 consecutive terms. Now, to be sure, they did control the House and the Senate throughout the decade of the 1920s. But the last time they elected a Republican Congress for a second time, well, for a continuous time, was 1930. Right. So we have 2 very significant historic moments.
Yes, we do. Bill Fritz, the character issue and the tax cut. 2 things, 2 major issues that Bob Dole hammered at all through the campaign. Clinton's character, his supposed failings, all the rest of it, the ethics. And who turns down a tax cut in this country? A lot of people did, apparently. Why did these issues not sell?
Well, on the ethics front, I think that a lot of this stuff is old news to people. I think voters made up their mind in 1992 that President Clinton may not be the most ethical, but they wanted him to be president. I don't think it was going to change many minds. I do think that the issue relative to campaign finance reform, which is going to hit both sides of the aisle, would have been more damaging to the president had the election been a week from now or 2 weeks from now. I think it has some staying power. We're going to see that probably as the #1 issue in the next Congress. They're going to have to deal with it.
And the taxes.
On the tax front, voters did not believe Bob Dole. They have been told they're going to get a tax cut. President Clinton said in 1992, I'm going to give you a tax cut. He didn't. He increased taxes. In 1988, George Bush said, read my lips, no new taxes. In 1990, he raised taxes. I think people finally realized, and they're getting very sophisticated when it comes to federal budgetary matters. They know that you can't cut taxes and promise to cut spending and promise not to touch entitlement programs.
And reduce the deficit.
And be honest about it.
They didn't buy it.
So it just did not sell.
In Minnesota, Democrat Paul Wellstone survived a barrage of attack ads to win re-election to the Senate. He defeated Republican Rudy Boschwitz, who branded Wellstone in these ads embarrassingly liberal. In his victory speech tonight, Wellstone thanked all Minnesotans, not just Democrats.
I think what Minnesotans have said is, look, Paul, we may not agree with you on every issue, but we know that you work hard, we know that you're honest, we know you have passion for education and children and working families, and I deeply appreciate that.
This is the 2nd consecutive defeat for former U.S. Senator Rudy Boschwitz at the hands of Paul Wellstone. This, of course, was billed as a grudge match, which indeed it was. It did get nasty. Things were flying back and forth throughout, especially in recent days. You are looking live at a picture from Little Rock, Arkansas, the old State House, which figures very prominently and poignantly in Bill Clinton's political career. This is where he and Al Gore emerged to claim victory 4 years ago, and we are told that the winning ticket will appear momentarily to claim victory again for another 4-year hitch at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. As we do, we also will tell you that Bob Dole is expected to wait out the closing of the polls in California, which is a done deal right now, to deliver his formal concession speech. We presume he's already telephoned his congratulations to Bill Clinton. And the protocol in these things is the loser goes first and concedes, and then the winner comes out and takes the laurels, that sort of thing. We have just seconds left, gentlemen. Some poignant remarks in closing from you.
Well, I think, first of all, this
short,
is...
high, please.
Oh, sorry. Not 50 minutes. I think that we've seen a really historic election, and I think we're going to see very important developments in the next few years as well.
Bill Fritz.
I think you're going to see Bill Clinton start to build a legacy for what he wants to be remembered for as president. You're going to see him work far more closely with a Republican-controlled Congress. And as I said earlier, I think you're going to see Republicans take a hard look at how they approach some of the ethics questions facing the White House.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your insights tonight. We appreciate it. Please stay with us. We have more to report to you, so we'll be back shortly.
Showtime brings you John Travolta in a wickedly funny blockbuster about fame, wealth, and glamour.
I guess in your line of work, there's times you have to get kind of rough, huh?
Say Hogan's Heroes, the collector's edition, is now available on video. Capture your first 4 episodes, including the original pilot, for $4.95 with subscription. The show is fast and funny, raved TV guide. Join Colonel Hogan and his heroes, comedy heroes, for a barracks full of laughs in stolid style. Hogan's Heroes, the collector's edition. Order this TV on video today and get 4 episodes for $4.95.
Bob Dole is addressing his supporters in Washington. Let's go there right now.
Yeah. I was thinking on the way downstairs. Yeah. I was just thinking on the way downstairs. I was thinking on the way down the elevator, tomorrow will be the first time in my life I don't have anything to do. But I wanted to come down and thank all of you. You've done a great job, and I'm very proud of Trent. We're going to keep the Senate. We're going to keep the House. We're going to... Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me say that I've talked to President Clinton. We had a good visit, and I congratulated him. And I've said, wait a minute. Now, I've said repeatedly, I've said repeatedly in this campaign that the president is my opponent, not my enemy, and I wish him well, and I pledge my support in whatever advances the cause of a better America, because that's what the race was about in the first place, a better America as we go into the next century. And I'm very proud also of my teammate, Jack Kemp. I've talked to Jack, and I've thanked Jack Kemp. And I want to thank not only Jack, but his wife, Joanne, who did an outstanding job, and all the Kemp family for the work they did in this campaign. And obviously, I want to thank 2 outstanding women. My daughter, Robin, who did a great job. And of course, my wife, Elizabeth, who's traveled this country. From one end to the other. In fact, they've both been with me in this 96-hour marathon. And we had a great time. We had great crowds and a lot of enthusiasm. At 3 o'clock this morning, I guess it was, we're in Independence, Missouri, and I never saw so many people in one place, so excited about the Republican Party. And let me say a special word. let me say a special word to all the young Americans and the young people who were involved in my campaign. You've been a constant source of inspiration for Elizabeth and myself. But I might add, you're not going to get that tax cut if you don't be quiet. Yeah. And I would say to the young people and all the others involved, it's a lot more fun winning. It hurts to lose an election, but stay involved and keep fighting the good fight because you are the ones who will make the 21st century the next American century. And I don't want anybody to pass out here, but I also want to thank all the media who traveled with me on the plane. And all my friends. No, come on. No, come on. Come on. All of my friends, and we have many friends in the media, and they were there every day, every night, every day, and every night as we flew around this country. And we met hundreds and thousands of good people all across America.
You've been watching live Bob Dole concede defeat to Bill Clinton in this presidential election. This is not anything new to Bob Dole. This is the third time that he has sought the White House and the third time he's had to deliver such a speech. He also was on a losing ticket with Gerald Ford some years ago, Dole running as vice president candidate then. This time around, at the top of the ticket, Bob Dole had to concede the inevitable tonight as the electoral count mounted, and it became evident, very clear early on, that Bill Clinton was going to win another 4 years at the White House. With Bob Dole's remarks, that means Bill Clinton's victory speech can only be moments away. Our man in Little Rock with the Clinton party is Mike Johnson. And Mike, if you are ready, tell us how soon we might see the president.
Well, Stan, I talked to Henry Cisneros, a member of Clinton's cabinet, a few moments ago, and he said it was going to be 10:30, which Arkansas time, which is any moment now. And since Bob Dole has spoken, that would be the proper protocol. Also, one other thing, a huge roar went up from this crowd a few moments ago when on the scoreboard they gave Bill Clinton 50% of the vote. As you know, in addition to winning the election, one of his goals was to win with a majority. Last time around in 1992, he had 43%. Of course, the 50% that he has at the moment could change as more votes are counted in the West, as you know, Stan.
Yes, also, Mike, we are given to understand that Clinton has clinched the California's 54 electoral votes. That's the biggest electoral prize of all in these presidential sweepstakes. So he didn't need it, but that's simply icing on the electoral cake for Mr. Clinton. There you see Bill Clinton, the projected winner in California, a state where Bob Dole spent many long, hard days campaigning up and down the state, even having to spend considerable time in Republican strongholds such as Orange County in the San Diego area, where normally a Republican wouldn't have to spend any time at all because that would automatically be in his pocket, but not this time around. It was tough for Bob Dole, especially in California. He knew how rich a prize it was. And you might have heard just a moment ago Dole saying that he was so pleased that, of course, he would be, that the House and Senate apparently are going to remain Republican. It may come to light that Bob Dole knew some time ago, or knew, at least conceded to himself, that he was not going to win the White House, but that he dedicated himself to staying out in the field and campaigning tirelessly to try to retain Republican majorities in the House and the Senate, which he did and evidently has come true. So he will take some sweet with the bitter tonight as he can look back and say that he certainly played a role in helping keep both houses of Congress in the clutches of his party. A gracious concession speech from Bob Dole as he looks at this kind of a board and saw early on that he was not going to be able to attain the 270 electoral votes that he needed. But Mike Johnson, we're waiting to see both the president and vice president come out and accept victory in this race. And as you say, the crowds there have been growing throughout the evening. It's taken on the aura of a huge street party right now. I see them white lights behind you there. It looks like party time. All they need now is the main guest.
That's exactly right. This could be New Year's Eve for this crowd here. I don't think they could get any more people in here, and the anticipation is pretty high that Mr. Clinton will come out momentarily.
Give us a crowd estimate, Mike. I'm going to put you on the spot. How many people are, any idea how many people are crowded in around there if you had to take a wild guess?
I don't know. They told me yesterday that they expected about 50,000. I don't know how you'd count them.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Well, Mike, we'll be returning to you just as soon as President Clinton and Vice President Gore appear there to acknowledge victory. It is interesting that Bob Dole delivered his concession speech there in Washington tonight without Jack Kemp. He had to acknowledge Jack Kemp, of course, and thanked him, but it was, at least some people might think it odd that Kemp wasn't there to share in the shared defeat and also savor the victory of the Republicans holding on to Congress. But Kemp and Dole have never been what you call real tight political friends. Many saw this as something of a shotgun marriage, this ticket of Dole and Kemp, because they've been so far apart on many issues, although both, of course, are longtime members of the Republican Party. But they did seem to get along fairly well. They did not make all that many joint appearances during this long campaign. They went off their separate ways, which a ticket normally does do. Gore and Clinton were not together physically all that much either. They would cross paths from time to time, but many thought that it was an awkward marriage, Kemp and Dole, and tonight perhaps underscored that, Jack Kemp not being there. There may be a perfectly reasonable explanation for it anyway, that Kemp couldn't be there, and maybe we'll find that out later. Here again is the big board with the big picture. And now the numbers show Bill Clinton amassing a landslide here easily, as he has all evening really. 363 electoral votes for Bill Clinton, Dole holding at 119. We've still to hear from the Dakotas, which figure to be in the Dole column. Montana's a toss-up state, Nevada also a toss-up state, and the big question mark of the day is Arizona. That normally is a Republican state automatically, not this time around. It's been a toss-up. We've yet to hear from Alaska, too, which is normally in the Republican column. Let us now, in case you missed it, give you a bit more via videotape of Bob Dole's concession speech just a few moments ago in Washington.
I was just thinking on the way down. I was thinking on the way downstairs. I was just thinking on the way downstairs. I was thinking on the way down in the elevator, tomorrow will be the first time in my life I don't have anything to do. But I wanted to come down and thank all of you. You've done a great job, and I'm very proud of Trent. We're going to keep the Senate. We're going to keep the House. We're going to... Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me say that I've talked to President Clinton. We had a good visit, and I congratulated him. And I've said, wait a minute. Now, I've said repeatedly, I've said repeatedly in this campaign that the president is my opponent, not my enemy, and I wish him well, and I pledge my support in whatever advances the cause of a better America. Is that what the race was about in the first place? A better America as we go into the next century. And I'm very proud also of my teammate Jack Kemp. I've talked to Jack, and I've thanked Jack Kemp. And I want to thank not only Jack, but his wife Joanne, who did an outstanding job, and all the Kemp family for the work they did in this campaign. And obviously, I want to thank two outstanding women. My daughter Robin, who did a great job. And of course, my wife Elizabeth, who's traveled this country. From one end to the other. In fact, they've both been with me in this 96-hour marathon, and we had a great time. We had great crowds and a lot of enthusiasm. At 3 o'clock this morning, I guess it was, we're in Independence, Missouri, and I never saw so many people in one place, so excited about the Republican Party. And let me say a special word. Let me say a special word to all the young Americans and the young people who were involved in my campaign. You've been a constant source of inspiration for Elizabeth and myself. But I might add, you're not going to get that tax cut if you don't be quiet. Yeah. And I would say to the young people and all the others involved, it's a lot more fun winning. It hurts to lose an election, but stay involved and keep fighting the good fight, because
Bob Dole delivering his concession speech in Washington just a few minutes ago. Bob Dole looking remarkably fit and full of good humor considering the long campaign, and especially as he mentioned that 96-hour nonstop marathon across the country the last 4 days. Bob Dole conceding defeat. You are looking live now at the Old State House in Little Rock, Arkansas, where it appears everyone is in position now to greet and applaud the victors of this 1996 presidential election, Bill Clinton and Vice President Al Gore. They are to appear momentarily. As we've said, protocol would dictate that the loser of the race go first and deliver his concession speech. Dole himself said that he telephoned President Clinton his congratulations earlier this evening, and Dole went out of his way to say that Bill Clinton has been his opponent, not his enemy. I understand we have some more returns now, do we, on some of the U.S. Senate races? We do indeed. North Carolina, Jesse Helms holding on for another term and keeping North Carolina in the Republican column. More than 3/4 of the vote in. Harvey Gantt in a rematch with Jesse Helms, coming up short again. Harvey Gantt having run a long, hard, expensive campaign to unseat Helms, but to no avail. In Alabama, this seat, an open seat, held for a long time, many years, by Democrat Howell Heflin. And this appears to be going Republican, one of those southern open seats the Republicans dearly wanted to pick up, and they have in Alabama. In Arkansas, this is a state that's never sent a Republican to the U.S. Senate. This, too, is an open seat that held by David Pryor, and you can see that's still a toss-up. In Georgia, another open seat once held by Democrat Sam Nunn. And that one's too close to call, too, with about 70% of the vote in. Kansas will stay Republican. Both seats up here, Sally Thompson and Pat Roberts for the Nancy Kassebaum seats, and Roberts is going to hold that for the Republicans. And the other one is a Republican, too. In Louisiana, though, this one has been seesawing all night. This is an open seat held by the Democrat Bennett Johnston for a couple of terms. Mary Landrieu, who wants to succeed him, is in a neck-and-neck contest with Woody Jenkins, the Republican. That one is too close to call, so we'll just have to wait on that one. That maybe will go into a recount. Here's one of the, as we said before, marquee contests of this race. In Massachusetts, John Kerry held on for a win over Republican William Weld, the governor of Massachusetts. A bitter contest, as was the Senate contest in Minnesota. This was a rematch. Paul Wellstone, Rudy Boschwitz. Boschwitz lost to Wellstone 6 years ago. Wellstone hangs on for a victory. Now this one, talk about seesaw races. Dick Sweat, the Democrat, appeared to be toppling incumbent Republican Bob Smith. Smith is battling back now with not quite 3/4 of the vote counted. Smith is alive and well and perhaps pulling away. That one is going to be a hanging fire, but we understand that someone, CNN, has declared Smith the winner. So Smith comes back from apparent political death in that contest. Again, some later numbers from North Carolina. Jesse Helms cementing his lead over Harvey Gantt to win that one. Let's go back live now to Little Rock, Arkansas, and there we see those doors again without any evidence of the president and vice president yet. The Secret Service are orbiting around the area, which is always a good indicator that something presidential is about to happen, and so it should come to pass here. I can see it looks like the crowd is growing still in anticipation of the appearance of the president. More folks walking out there. This place has become a lucky charm for the president. Over the years, the old State House has great symbolic meaning to the president. 4 years ago, you might recall on this night, that he and Gore emerged from the building in the glare of the night lights there to accept a victory against George Bush and Dan Quayle. And this time around, they've done it again, this time against Bob Dole and Jack Kemp. Speaking of Kemp, we were wondering out loud just a few moments ago where Kemp was tonight. He was decidedly not with Bob Dole in Washington, as you could clearly see a moment ago. It turns out that Kemp was at his own headquarters on the other side of the country in Costa Mesa, California tonight. And Kemp made his concession remarks just a little while ago. He, too, taking a great concession, or consolation, I should say, at the fact that the Republicans, I shouldn't say fact, but the apparent happening that the Republicans have held on to Congress, both houses. So Kemp feeling good about that. Now, we have some more, do we, from Bob Dole. There's a couple of states here. Bob Dole, the projected winner, again in one of the deep South states, Mississippi, which he was expected to win. Also expected to win, Dole was, both South and North Dakota. He is a projected winner in South Dakota, and we have yet to hear from North Dakota. The presidential race shapes up thusly. Dole now up to 129. Still, of course, he will not, mathematically has been eliminated, of course, from the contest, but Clinton has won, picking up just moments ago the 54 electoral vote prize in California. Clinton has won all the big ones. A big win for Clinton tonight is Florida with its 25 electoral votes, a state that has not gone to a Democratic presidential candidate since Jimmy Carter did it back in 1976. It stayed Republican until now. Bill Clinton wins that one. Texas went to Bob Dole, and that carried a rich prize of delegates, but electoral votes, but not enough to do him any good. Interestingly, this map looks a lot like the GOP map in 4 years ago. George Bush carried Indiana, he carried Virginia, both Carolinas, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, both Dakotas, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, and Arizona. Now, you can see Arizona is still a question mark. That has been a toss-up state, and the polls closed not so long ago. Here we have the electoral map from 4 years ago, and you can say it's it's almost similar. The changes here being that we don't know yet about Arizona. The fact that it's even contested this time around is interesting. And you can see that Florida, when it was in the Republican column 4 years ago, is now in the Democratic column this time around. But Texas, the Dakotas, and all the other states we mentioned were then, as they are now, in the Republican column. So the map very close, with a couple of exceptions, they being Florida and who knows about Arizona right now. So interesting point of comparison there. The difference, though, in the popular vote, that's the jury is still out on that. As Mike Johnson told us a moment ago from Little Rock, and we'll be returning there shortly to him. We're looking live at the old State House now in Little Rock, is that the popular vote is something that Bill Clinton wants to raise from his tally of 43%. He got 43% of the popular vote 4 years ago, making him, of course, a minority president. He wants dearly to run up at least 51% so that he can claim to be a majority president. The partial figures show he's around 50%, but that number is going to fluctuate throughout the night, and it's not sure when the final votes are in and counted that he will, in fact, have the majority tally that he wants. We'll have to wait on that one probably until tomorrow at the earliest to see. Right now, we wait and we wait and we wait. We tread water here, and we will just simply hold this situation for you until Mr. Clinton comes out to take his bows. Bill Carter, what do we have? We have some, what can we show? Okay, we have some singing, I believe. Okay, one of Bill Clinton's favorite songs, Amazing Grace, is about to be sung. Let's listen in.
Once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amen. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Hum it once for me.
Well, a hush falls over this large crowd outside the Little Rock State House in anticipation of the appearance of Bill Clinton and Al Gore. A beautiful rendition of Amazing Grace, a Clinton favorite, sung there for the crowd. A celebratory crowd, which has gone rather somber and reflective at the moment here. An interesting, poignant counterpoint to the evening of cheers and applause and all the rest of it. And we are just waiting here now. The doors seem to be opening behind the podium, and that's always a good sign that we're about to see somebody important, like the winner of this election. And I think we can anticipate seeing Mr. Clinton and Mr. Gore here any second now. The crowd has been growing throughout the evening. Folks gathering starting early today, actually. This was all well known. Mr. Clinton has been staying in a hotel in Little Rock, and long ago decided that he would appear this evening, win, lose, or draw, at the old State House, which has become a tradition with Mr. Clinton on election eves. He's run many, many races, and this is, by his own avowal, the last of his election contests. A man of 50 years old who has accomplished a lot in many races over the years, and now is going to serve out his last term as president, and after that, well, who knows? A different story for Al Gore, his running mate. Al Gore, of course, just by virtue of the fact he is Mr. Clinton's successful running mate, positions him as one of the front runners 4 years down the road to succeed Mr. Clinton. But, of course, he has shunned all talk of that during this contest because the spotlight had to stay on the main man, Bill Clinton. So, we see that the crowd is still hushed in anticipation. A moment ago, we saw some country western bands up there on the stage, a decidedly different mood as they try to fill the time and amuse the crowd and the viewing audience around the country as we wait and wonder what the president will have to say. Earlier tonight, our guest panelists here, Hy Berman and Bill Fritz, did a bit of speculating about a second Clinton term. And Bill Fritz, who is well known among the Republican Party, said that he looked for a fair amount of low-key conciliation between the Republican Congress and Bill Clinton, that they would perhaps work more closely together. You can see there now some stage hands setting up things on the stage here, getting some wires and speakers and such rejiggered so that we can hear from the president momentarily. But our analysts were guessing that with the Republicans maintaining control of the House and Senate and the Democrats in the White House, that perhaps there would be less warring and more cooperation between both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue as they finally decide things need to get done, that there will be budget problems that are problems for both parties, Social Security, Medicare. All of the issues that were really discussed, debated, and argued over during the campaign will have to be brought to some sort of a resolution. Balancing the budget by 2002. Making sure that Medicare is not a fund that is not depleted, that people get the medical care that they need, that they say they've needed. So we may see a great deal of cooperation if the speculation comes true. And now the moment they and many people in this country have been waiting for, the President of the United States, his lease renewed for another 4-year term in the White House, President Bill Clinton, Chelsea on his right hand, wife Hillary Rodham Clinton on his left, coming out to take the cheers of those assembled. A moment, of course, the President has dreamed of and will savor for a long, long time. The first time since 1936 that a Democratic president has succeeded to a second term. Franklin Roosevelt did it in 1936. Roosevelt, of course, went on to serve a third and part of a fourth term until his death in April of 1945. And, of course, the Constitution was amended after that to allow for no more than 2 terms for any one president, 2 consecutive terms. Mr. Clinton has achieved what no other Democrat has been able to since the days of FDR. So a great moment, and a president looking,
ladies and gentlemen,
relatively, I would say, controlled and subdued, considering the ecstasy that he must feel right now. Almost a somber quality in a way. But taking the salutes and the applause of those assembled, and here comes Al Gore and Tipper coming out of the shadows, on with the lights, and here they are. And Al Gore and wife Tipper and their family behind them, coming out to take the applause, wave to their friends. Al Gore, as we say, is now positioned to, if he so chooses, to run for the White House 4 years down the track. Al Gore, of course, is a creature of Congress, having served from Tennessee in the Senate for a long time, for many years, is generally acknowledged by both sides of the aisle to be a compromiser, a low-key fighter for what he believes in. He and Jack Kemp went toe-to-toe, nose-to-nose during the debates. And although Gore is said to be a bit on the not-so-flashy side, he is fairly quick with the wit when he has to, and seems to command the facts and figures to support his arguments, as Jack Kemp did too. It was an interesting standoff between 2 men who served together in the U.S. House, actually, too, for a time. So they knew each other well. So Gore will be very much in the spotlight over the next 4 years, as well as the president. The vice president, of course, in this country is, there it is, the victory salute. The clasped hands, acknowledging their victory for a second 4-year term. You're looking live at the scene in Little Rock, Arkansas, outside the old State House in downtown Little Rock. Arkansas, the home of William Jefferson Clinton, a man from Hope, Arkansas, born there, but has spent his political career with Little Rock, Arkansas as his base. Al Gore, now stepping up to the microphones, and we will listen in to hear what he has to say, once the applause, that is, dies down. There we go. Al Gore doing his best to try to get a few words in.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening. Before I present the President, I would like to thank the people who made this glorious evening possible. My wife, Tipper, who has campaigned from one end of the country and back again with flair and passion. My 4 children, Corinna, Kristen, Sarah, and Albert, who have filled our lives with love and our hearts with pride. I would like to thank my parents who have set a standard of excellence and integrity in public service that has always inspired me. My brother-in-law, Frank Hunger, a wise and trusted friend. On behalf of the President and myself, I'd like to thank Peter Knight, the best campaign manager ever, and a campaign staff that worked harder and more effectively than any in history. And on a personal note, I would like to thank the people of my home state of Tennessee for giving us a victory this evening. And may I say, on behalf of Tipper and myself, to a very dear friend, and on behalf of millions of families in villages throughout our land, a very special thank you to a woman who has faced extraordinary pressures with grace, dignity, and an unbreakable commitment to serving our nation, America's First Lady, Hillary Rodham Clinton. A few blocks from here, in the summer of 1992, then Governor Bill Clinton asked me to be his running mate. It has been my great privilege to work by his side these past 4 years, and I want you to know I have gotten to know him as very few others have. I have seen him lift and carry burdens of unimaginable weight, day after day after day. I've heard him ask over and over again, what is right for the American people? I've seen him stand hour upon hour, comforting American families who have lost loved ones in natural disasters, wretched acts of terror, and in service to our country. I've seen him go on working for the American people from before dawn to well after midnight, however difficult the challenge, however towering the obstacles, however long the odds. That takes strength. That takes vision. That takes leadership. That takes character. The Bible says, by their fruits ye shall know them. On this night 4 years ago, on this very spot, I said we felt good having won an election, but even better at having been granted the chance to change a country. Much has changed since we last gathered here, and it has changed because of the resolve and determination of the American people under Bill Clinton's leadership. Under President Bill Clinton, we have forged a new prosperity, putting our financial house in order while restarting the great American jobs machine. We have deepened our ethic of environmental stewardship and redoubled our commitment to protecting God's creation. We have secured our place in the world by helping to bring peace and reconciliation to lands scarred by hatred's savage hand, and by speeding the spread of democracy and free markets across the globe. We have moved to redeem the promise of representative democracy by reinventing the processes of self-government to make them work better and cost less. And we have begun the task of restoring faith and responsibility to the American community by keeping our streets safe and our values secure. Under Bill Clinton, the United States of America is not just better off, it's better. Now, 4 years later, we again celebrate a victory. But what we savor much more is the opportunity you have given us once again to lift our country higher still. And from where we stand tonight, we can now see the shimmering rays of light that signal the dawn of the 21st century. We see an America that is preparing and empowering all of its people and giving them opportunities to succeed. We see an America in which success does not depend on how others categorize you, but upon what is in your heart. An America in which talented teachers shepherd dedicated students through the best schools in the entire world, where an 8-year-old can pick up a book and read it on his or her own. An America in which higher education is open to all and affordable by all. From our vantage point tonight, we see an America where every child can connect to the information superhighway and absorb the vast knowledge of a small planet. An America where any person with a good idea and the desire to work can enter the new networked economy and become tomorrow's successful entrepreneur. An America where the greatest scientists in the world continue to make discoveries that change our lives for the better. We see an America where the water is safe and the air is clean, whose national parks continue to thrive and delight our families, whose toxic waste sites are cleaned up, and whose urban brownfields become alive again and green with promise for all our people. From where we stand tonight, we see an America making a transition to a new era, aware of the uncertainties but inspired by the possibilities. We are beginning to see an America scrubbing the stain of cynicism from our national fabric, reinvigorating the civic institutions on which our national health depends. An America motivated not by what divides us, but by what makes us one. And that is why we also see an America where a president of one party and a Congress of another can work together to serve citizens of every party. Let me say a special word to America's young people tonight. This is your nation too. Your claim on it is just as great as those who are older. Please involve yourselves in our democratic process. Add your voices and your talents to our grand experiment in self-government. Ladies and gentlemen, in only a few hours it will be morning, and across America, from the Shenandoah Valley to Silicon Valley, from Brighton Beach in New York to Oak Street Beach in Chicago, from Tampa Bay to Puget Sound, from the Oval Office in the White House to the kitchen table in your house, the sun will rise on another day in America, another step forward on our national journey. And leading us in that journey will be the man from hope who tonight becomes a man for history. Prior to this election, in the entire history of our nation, from the presidency of George Washington forward, only 13 people have been elected to 2 straight terms as President of the United States of America.